The Department for Education must publish information about everyone who applies to set up a free school in England. That's according to a ruling by the Information Tribunal. The government had refused to give out any information about unsuccessful applicants, and it appealed against a decision by the Information Commissioner that it should be more transparent. The British Humanist Association was one of those trying to find out about applicants. It wanted to know the names, locations and religions of all those interested in setting up schools. Well, we're joined by its Chief Executive, Andrew Copson, and by Natalie Evans, who's Director of the New Schools Network, which helps people wanting to set up free schools. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Now, Andrew Copson, those who are successful in wanting to set up a free school, we already get information about those. Why did you want to know about those who are unsuccessful?
It's not so much those who are unsuccessful as those who are not yet successful. So it's applications that have been received that the government may be going to approve, but that we don't, the public, actually know what they are. And that's important because in the whole history of education system, there has always been a long period for public consultation before new schools are set up. With free schools, there is a very short, not very accessible period of consultation, which is run by the group itself that's setting up the school, not by the government. And most of the work of deciding whether a free school bid is going to go forward is done behind closed doors in the Department for Education. The information.
So what you were asking for was name, location and religion.
Yeah, name, location and religion of the groups that are applying to set up schools, so there can be public scrutiny of that, which there isn't currently.
Why location? What's the significance of location?
Well, location matters because the people who are based in that location are the people who will want to have a view on the school that's going to set up where they live.
Although, of course, arguably, locally, people do tend to know about groups that are...
No, they don't. No, not at all. No one knows about these groups until the government decides to tell us.
Now, Natalie Evans, it was surveys by the New Schools Network that was cited by the government as one of the reasons why they didn't want to give out this information. It is quite hard to see why what's wrong with that sort of transparency.
Well, we're very worried about the potential implications of this ruling. If this puts off one group who wants to set up a free school, that's one group too many. And we're particularly concerned about the impact it may have on teachers, who already in some cases face intimidation and bullying by unions, and in some cases even colleagues,
if
they're
us through
involved
why
in a group.
It should put people off. Why would it be a problem just having that transparency?
Well, as we've said, we're very concerned, particularly for teachers. A lot of free school groups work in their free time. They're doing it in their evenings. They've got full-time jobs. For teachers in particular, they may be employed in a local school. They can often face issues with that school if they're involved in a free school group. And we're very concerned for people who want to set up free schools, who want to improve education, that they may put off. And we just don't see why this ruling should be celebrated. We think it could be very damaging.
Now, you did a survey that showed, I think, that of the 100 schools asked, nearly half had said it would have put them off applying, and therefore, i.e. would have put them off applying again. I mean, the tribunal found that it wasn't credible and it was deeply suspect and doubtful reliability. But you're obviously firmly of that belief.
Well, we work with hundreds of groups around the country, and we are very concerned that this may put groups off. Groups who want to improve the education system for pupils in their local area.
Right.
We believe that this ruling will have a detrimental effect, and we're very concerned about it.
Do you accept that, Andrew Copson, that say there's a group of teachers, and there are often groups of teachers wanting to set up free schools, that actually it makes it more awkward for them, and it would put them off if it was all open that they were putting together a bid?
Well, the Information Tribunal rejected the arguments that you've just heard. They said very clearly that the survey that appeared to show that people might be put off was weak, that its design was deeply suspect. But
let's say we did another survey and it could quite conceivably show that people would be put off.
It could conceivably show, but all it would show is that some people don't want to be public about their ambitions to open new schools. And
for understandable reasons?
Well, it may be understandable, but it's public money that they want to receive to do this. So the public has a right to scrutinise and to see transparently what bids are being made. I mean,
but you're talking about groups that are not successful. These are groups that aren't going to get public money.
Do they get public money
no,
at the
not
the
during the
stage?
Application stage. No,
so you only get public money when you're actually successful.
They're doing it in their free time. They are doing something that they believe will improve education. They're not receiving public money.
Everyone's doing something that they believe. Everyone's doing something that they believe will improve education. That's not the point.
One sec, please don't talk over each other because we can't hear either of you, but that's okay. Andrew Copson, they will only get the public money when they are successful and when already, under the current regime, their information is put out.
But that's not about... What this is about is what period of public consultation and public scrutiny we should have of these bids. When they're already successful implies that we don't think there should be any public scrutiny before bids are successful. We've always in our education system in this country had a period of what's known as formative for the formative period in a bid is when the public should have their scrutiny. What's the point of it being?
Is your particular concern? No, because we've only got a minute. So what I want to get from you is your particular concern. Presumably, your concern as the Humanist Association is that there will be a takeover by different faiths of our schools.
There is obviously a concern about religious groups, some which have very extreme agendas applying to set up schools and being in some cases approved. But I think there's a general principle about living in an open society. Public consultation should occur at a point at which a decision can still be
That's
changed.
why you want the openness, is you want to know what religions have ambitions on schools.
Partly I think religious schools are the issue, yes, and that is a third of all new schools.
Do you accept that, Natalie Evans?
Well, we don't believe this is a religious issue. We believe this is about groups being able to put in an application to have a free school without fear of reprisal, and we're concerned about the impact of this ruling.
Natalie Evans, Andrew Copson, thank you.